Message from Starfleet Command, top priority.
You are listening to the TrekRanks podcast, a member of the Tricorder Transmissions Podcast Network. This is episode 106, featuring the top 5 rescues. Welcome, Star Trek fans. I am Jim Moorhouse. I am the host of the TrekRanks podcast, and tonight we've got another cool topic for you to break down. It's the top 5 rescues in Trek, and there are a ton of great tropes. We are going to do top 5 tropes in Trek at some point on TrekRanks. But one of those tropes is a good old-fashioned rescue, and for this cool topic, one that you can approach in a bunch of different ways, and we have 2 fantastic guests to help us do that tonight.
Assemble the rescue team.
First up, returning for her 6th go-around on TrekRanks, coming to us via subspace in the Grand Rapids sector of Michigan, it's Brooke Horton. Welcome back, Brooke.
Thank you so much. Glad to be back in this place that I belong. You know?
Oh, yes, I like that. And our second guest today is contacting us from an undisclosed location deep inside the Emerald Chain. And across the last year, everyone's become extremely well known with this individual in the Star Trek community as a fan, an actor, a Parmakai, and as the heroic Andorian Ryn from the 3rd season of Star Trek Discovery. It's Noah Averbach-Katz. Welcome, Noah.
Hello. Thank you to be here. You know, right off the bat, I have a total gripe, which is that I've gotten very lucky to do a bunch of podcasts, but I'm always on people's like 152nd or 303rd, and I hear 106. I'm like, man, I wanted to do that 100th spectacular. So I'm rebranding this episode as the 100th spectacular. The last 6, sorry, they didn't count. Throw them out, delete them from the podcast feed. This is the 100th episode spectacular. So I'm very happy to be here for that. Well, and you know, can I say something else, which is that I have a book at home, a notebook at home, which I didn't bring with me to Toronto, where I am currently. My location is now disclosed. Please don't come find me. Where I wrote down, speaking of tropes, I wrote down all the Star Trek, you know, capital S, capital T, Star Trek things I got to do.
Oh, so great.
And I took a huge list, and it was everything from getting beamed up to also getting to do the thing where, you know, you're running and you get beamed up while you're running. And then as you beam in, you continue running and you do that kind of slam off the side of the wall. I was like, that is Star Trek. I totally got to do that. I got to get shot by a phaser and live. I got to get shot by a phaser and die and get evaporated. That's total Star Trek. I think the only, you know, I even got an away mission in my own shuttlecraft. I mean, that's total Star Trek. I think the only Star Trek thing, the true Star Trek thing I didn't get to do was put on a uniform.
Ooh, this is good. So you did shakes and sparks, right? Like
tons of shakes, yes. Tons of sparks.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. You know, we did a whole day in that pod where we were just screaming and spinning, and the camera was spinning, and then they cut it all because they forgot that we were in space. So it didn't make any sense that I would be upset by spinning around in a circle. But there was lots of sparks, lots of shaking, lots of Jonathan Frakes going, bang, boom. Yeah. That's reacting to that. So I got to do that. But I think the only thing that I can remember, that the real trope I didn't get to do was probably use a communicator and be in a uniform. So you can have me back for tropes.
Oh my
How about
God,
that?
That's fantastic. So full disclosure, I made the exact same list. I don't even know if you know this because I had my walk-on roll. And so I made the same list because I got to shake and spark and fire the phasers,
yes,
and wear the uniform. That's pretty much the end of my list. Oh, I had Roxanne Dawson was yelling me to bang and move. Perfect. So that's close.
Perfect.
To Frakes. Oh my God, that list is spectacular. We are going to do Trek tropes. It's going to be so great.
Yeah, I didn't bring it with me to Toronto, but I'll have to go through because I really took down very detailed notes of every single thing I got to do, that felt like very Star Trek to me.
Oh, so many good ones. And so I'm going to, Captain Janeway was episode 100, so you're going to have to talk to her about that that rebranding. So
never mind.
I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to work.
I regret everything that I've said. Edit it out. You said you could edit things out. Take it out.
Right. We're not taking that out. Okay. So we're thrilled to have Noah on because, of course, for TrekRanks, it's you got to bring the Trek knowledge to come on. And so when I was looking at my long list of topics we were going to do, and I knew I was going to do top 5 rescues, and I'd been thinking about inviting Noah on, and it hit me like this is the perfect topic because in 3 episodes, Ryn had like 5 major rescues. I mean, it's unbelievable how many rescues you were involved in. So we'll get to that when we get into our topic. But Noah, let's give everybody your quick Trek origin story. I think a lot of people have heard it on our many friends podcasts like Trek Profiles, Infinite Diversity, Trek Geeks. I heard the one on Spoiler Country. That I gotta say that one was cool. The way you guys talked about the Shakespeare and you talked about your history at Juilliard, which I thought was really good. I could hear those lines between them reading. And it was really, really interesting stuff. So anyway, give everybody your quick Trek origin story snapshot, and then they should go listen to all those great shows.
Yeah, it's all out there, but essentially I came out of the womb. My mother put on Voyager, and the rest was history. I grew up watching Enterprise week to week, so that obviously holds a soft spot on my heart. And then my wife, Mary Wiseman, booked a role on Star Trek Discovery, henceforward known as Sylvia Tilly, acting EXO or whatever the hell she is now, who knows. And then I gotta be on the damn show.
Perfect. That is the best snapshot. Go listen to those other shows. I will tell you, my favorite part of that is the fact that you were clearly the reason Mary got cast, because you told her to change her outfit for her. And that, every time I hear that, I'm like, yeah, that's for sure. A flowing dress, it's not gonna help.
Yes, you'll have to scour to find that other story, but it's out there. But yeah, I remind her constantly, and I do take full credit for all of her career success. So I'm glad you agree with me.
Okay, so let's get into our TrekRanks recalibrations, and we can talk about some rescues.
Let's start with something small, like a recalibration of the EPS manifolds.
As regular listeners will know by now, General Order number 1 of the TrekRanks charter is that we love Trek. We love to rank Trek via some deep dive topics just to get the conversation started. But remember, it's not about the ranks. Nobody cares about that. It's just our excuse to talk about Star Trek. And as Mr. Spock himself has said, our show is all about
infinite diversity in infinite combinations, symbolizing the elements that create truth and beauty.
No wrong answers. It's not about being right or definitive in any way. It's about sharing the things we love about Star Trek, and we love it all, from TOS to TNG, straight through to Enterprise, the Kelvin timeline, and now Discovery, Short Trek, Star Trek Picard, Lower Decks. It's all fair game here on the TrekRanks podcast.
Black alert. Black alert.
And a reminder that this episode of TrekRanks is current through 801 episodes of Star Trek, which currently translates through the amazing 3rd season of Star Trek Discovery. And one final reminder that we use episodes as a shorthand term, but the 13 films are always in play as well.
I've boosted power to the communications bandwidth.
And we appreciate that, Mr. Kim. You can find TrekRanks on Subspace at TrekRanks.com. You can contact me directly at TrekRanks or at Enterprise Extra. And you can also call and leave us a message with your own picks at 609-512-LLAP. That's 609-512-5527. Okay, Brooke and Noah, I'm going to let you guys tell everybody how people can get a hold of you on Subspace. Brooke, I know you're still there.
I am. I'm on Twitter at A Whale in the Moon. And I'd say it's equal parts cats, Trek, and probably food.
Cats and Trek. That's what it's all about. Noah.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same thing that's on my Twitter too, except there's no food.
Yeah, I don't have any
cat
food either.
And Star Trek. You can find it N_A_K.
2 great Twitter follows. Everybody do it. Okay, we're skipping our diagnostic cycle this week, and we're jumping straight into our Prime Directives to figure out how everyone narrowed down their lists and came up with their final picks.
But what you're proposing is exactly the kind of tampering the Prime Directive prohibits.
Okay, so before we hear everyone's prime directives, just a quick summary again on kind of what we mean by rescue. And again, it's TrekRanks. You can do anything you want in terms of how you define that. I think some people might get creative with it when we get some lists from our listeners. But for the most part, it's straight up rescue missions, or it could be maybe someone rescued someone through support, or a relationship. I don't know. Lots of different ways to think about it. There's one-on-one rescues. There's ships and planets being rescued. Who knows? So, Brooke, let's start with you. How did you end up defining a rescue and then narrowing down your picks to just 5?
Okay, so I chose to define a rescue as a time when, through fate or chance, a situation was created and a rescue was the only answer to kind of setting things right. Because we've seen our fair share of thrilling extractions and whatnot, but I didn't consider it a rescue if that part was part of the original mission. And then narrowing down my 5, I ran them through 2 filters. Was there a lot on the line if the rescue failed? And then also, is it fun to talk about? Because that second part is pretty much my forever prime directive on TrekRanks anyway. So
it's all fun to talk about. I love that. I think mine's almost the exact opposite of yours.
Oh.
Noah, how about you? How did you think about this topic when I brought it up?
I figured if there's somebody on a ship or planet that needs to get back to the right ship or the right planet, and you got to go down and get them and they can't do it themselves, that's a rescue. It was pretty literal, but Star Trek rescues are so classic, trying to beam somebody out right in the nick of time, or you're trapped on the planet and there's no way off and time's running out. So that was sort of my thing, that my definition of a rescue. And I picked the episodes that I wanted to watch again. And then I did that.
That is a tried and true TrekRanks process. I love that. All right. So for me, mine ended up being pretty targeted. It was more about straight rescues. I mean, I brainstormed a bunch, like there's ships saving a planet, and there's like person-to-person rescues, and then there's like self-preservation rescues where you may be saving yourself, and there's accidental rescues, which there's a few of those. But I ended up just thinking about it had to be a rescue mission where a group of our heroes were making a plan to go rescue another group of our heroes and get them back to safety. So that was pretty much where I drew the line and made the cut on a bunch of picks that I really wanted to include as well. So that is my prime directive. All right, this is going to be great. Let's hear everybody's picks. First, Kudecaton, introduce us to the Order of Things.
It'll be alphas like us that determine the future of this quadrant. That will be the new order of things.
Thank you, First Kudecaton. As always, I am such a nerd. Oh my God. Thank you, First Kudecaton.
Just realized 100 episodes in of a Star Trek podcast talking about, what color is the door in season 4. And he just realized he is a nerd.
We had Brooke on for abstract 3s. We are going to do abstract colors at some point.
There you go. See?
Yeah, so it is going to happen. All right, First Kudecaton. Thank you for that. A quick reminder on how we're going to go through the order of things. First, everyone will start with their 5-word summary and the hashtag to tease their pick. Then we'll each reveal our top 5 rescue and the specific reasons we're highlighting it. And at the end, we'll ask everyone for a few secondary system selections for the picks that just missed our list. And as always, if we have any duplicate picks, make sure you listen for the Defiant Torpedoes. Okay, Brooke, let's kick this off with you. What's your number 5 pick for your top 5 rescues?
All right. My number 5 pick, 5 words, training mission to Gamma Hydra, hashtag Vulcan say damn. And my pick is the perpetually hapless Kobayashi Maru freighter.
Nice.
I chose this rescue. Good. I mean, I chose it because the simulation surrounding the Kobayashi Maru tells us a ton about Starfleet. It's the test that all command track cadets have to take. And given that, we see that rescue and the preservation of life has to be the top priority for any starship captain. And it's funny because the name Kobayashi Maru has actually become more synonymous with no-win scenarios than with a ship. But that ship needed to be rescued thousands of times over and over, and every scenario taught all these future starship captains about what had to be, the most important priority. And I guess in a way you could say that, the rescue of this one simulated freighter over and over kind of set the tone for, every tight spot on every mission that, every future captain would go on.
Oh my God. I love this pick. I did not think of the Kobayashi Maru. It's the
Love it.
Literal classic rescue. Which did you pick Wrath of Khan as your?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there's so many options of it now. That's brilliant.
Yep.
Noah, what's your take on? Sorry, go Brooke.
I was just saying 2009 or Wrath of Khan. They both were pretty perfect examples.
But it's referenced so often too.
The 2009 is really, really a good one where he's chewing that apple confidently, really sticking to it. Who doesn't want to be Kirk in that moment? I love that. Great pick. Love that pick. It's a little cheating because you basically just chose Star Trek, but I'll allow it.
That's the best kind of cheating you can do on this show.
We highly encourage cheating on TrekRanks if it results in more Star Trek. So
fair enough.
Pretty much does it. Okay, fantastic start. I did not think of that, and it really is the perfect pick to start with because that defines Trek rescues. Noah, how about you? What's your number 5 pick?
All right. My 5 words are rocks hit people, part 1. And then the hashtag pass the Dresky. This is Star Trek Next Generation, the episode Final Mission, where Picard and Wesley and whatever that idiot captain's name is are stranded on the planet. Durgo, yes,
I am
that's
such
it.
a nerd.
Wow, that's awesome. What a pull. Yeah. He's got a very sort of old white guy vibe. I got this. I'm under control. And he blows himself up or gets wrapped up in a web. It's not a great, I'm being honest, it's not really a good rescue episode because at the very end, they've already sort of solved the problem. And then Beverly's like, hey, are you okay? And they're like, yeah, we're fine. Let's get out of here. But it is a great sort of, I love a survival rescue where you just have to hang on long enough until they come. I feel like that's sort of a great Star Trek rescue trope where, time's running out and you just have to hang on just a little bit longer until help is arrived. And anytime Picard is incapacitated and other people have to do the heavy lifting, I'm all about it. It winds up being great. So that is that's my number 5 rescue.
I love the survival aspect of this, and this is Wesley Crusher's last episode, or as a regular.
That's right.
They did such a good job of making it feel visceral with the heat and the lost cause of it all when they're walking through the desert. It's a great episode. I love this survival aspect. Brooke, what's your take? Final Mission.
I have absolutely no memory of this episode.
I bet if you, there's like I feel like the still from that episode was like Picard and Wesley with their head wraps on in this sort of orange desert next to the kind of red rusted ship. I bet if you looked at that picture, it'd be like, I still don't remember the episode, but I have seen that picture before.
Yeah, right. Is it a GIF? Right.
It must be.
I will go watch it. That's what happens when I'm up against one that I'm not that familiar with. It's like, all right, well, here's my watch list.
I love it. And that's part of the visceralness, those headbands. Okay, we don't nitpick on TrekRanks, but one of my favorite things is at the end when Picard's on the stretcher. Like one of the cardinal rules of stretcher is if you're going up or down, you don't have the guy's head going down. You have to have the head always up.
That is very funny. The whole stretcher bit is a little like, are we gonna do anything better than just a stretcher?
It's very old school. Classic. Okay, let's do my round 5 pick. 5 words and a hashtag. This one's short and sweet. It's really quick, clever conclusion, but I love it as part of a breakneck episode of Star Trek. All right, 5 words and a hashtag. You've got 5 minutes, Harry. Hashtag get the baby. That's in order. And it is Harry Kim rescuing Naomi the baby in Voyager Deadlock Season 2. And this is at the very end of this amazing episode where you've got 2 Voyagers, 2 Janeways, all this. The Vidians are coming on board. Harry Kim has already died in this episode, and so has baby Naomi. And at the end of the episode, Janeway realizes that they're going to have to sacrifice her ship. And so she sends her Harry Kim to race to sickbay, save and rescue young little Ensign Wildman's baby, and dodge his way back to the temporal shift and get out just in time.
I'm going to send Harry Kim through the rift with Ensign Wildman's baby. Somehow, it seems only fair. We'll be waiting for them. Just make me a promise, Catherine. Get your crew home. I will. Harry, you've got 5 minutes. Get the baby.
But Captain...
Move it, Ensign. That's an order.
This is an amazing episode, amazing sci-fi concept, but I just thought of this one, and I just like the way Harry Kim's the hero, man. He's dodging Vidians in the corridor. He's phasering people. He does a phaser, and then he rolls, and then phasers another Vidian inside sickbay, grabs the baby, runs to safety. Quite a rescue. A Deadlock is my pick. Brooke, what's your take on that?
Geez. Well, it's obviously a great episode and intense all the way through, but I like this because Harry doesn't have enough moments like this, and it really also could probably have fit in, I don't know, it wasn't that many episodes ago, but it was the buzzer beaters, so it's intense. It's intense. I think this is a great pick.
So many picks on TrekRanks could fit into other categories. Noah, what's your memory of Deadlock from Voyager?
Yeah, I'm not really remembering anything from this episode.
Oh, you should watch this.
Perfectly honest, but I'm looking at it now, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is a good one. I'm looking at Janeway, me looking at you. It's good, and I think, anytime that Harry Kim isn't the butt of a joke, I think it's going to be a serious and badass episode. So I'm going to have to check this one out.
Honestly, that's one of the reasons I gave. Let's give Harry Kim some props. And this is the end where the famous line where Janeway says to Harry Kim, because he's like, aren't I dead? Is this really my ship? I switched universes. She's like, weird is part of the game. Okay, let's go to round 4. And Brooke, what's your number 4 pick? We're all over the place so far. I love it.
Oh, and we will continue to be all over the place. All right, my number 4 pick, 5 words, Admiral, there be whales here. And my hashtag is my fortune favor the foolish.
Yes.
Wow.
And of course, obviously, my pick is Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home.
Rescue the whales.
I have to pause. She is kicking our ass right now. Oh, my God. This is not fair. I'm supposed to be the guest, and I'm getting dunked on. Oh, my God.
Admiral, there be whales here. Well done, Mr. Scott. How soon can we be ready for warp speed? Full power now, sir.
Okay, now I'm going to pause and just say that I never actually come out and say this in my Prime Directive, but there's always a subconscious Prime Directive that's make Jim almost cry, or make Jim say, or pull something out that Jim didn't think of. So, but anyway, this would be the crying one. Anyway.
I'm just worried because this is number 4.
I know, this is incredible.
Wow.
I love animals. I love whales. This is my favorite Star Trek movie. I did not think of this one. They are rescuing the whales and saving them.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole movie fits the Prime Directive because, I mean, at one point Kirk says to Spock, you're talking about the end of every life on Earth, and it really doesn't get bigger than that for our species, when it comes to a rescue. And it's this crazy patch. This is very Star Trek, but it's this crazy patch together plan that the cat, it's well, we don't have anything better. Let's just run with this. And even though it's super high stakes, obviously, it's so fun. I watched the trailer again today, and it's absolutely my favorite trailer from any Star Trek movie because it totally captures how fun it's going to be.
Stardate 1986.
San Francisco. Our own world is waiting for us to save it.
They have 24 hours.
Everybody remember where we parked. Break up.
To complete their mission.
You look like a cadet review.
We will beam in tonight, collect the photons, and beam out.
I want you all to be very careful.
Without being discovered.
We have an intruder.
All right, who are you?
You're not exactly catching us at our best.
That much is certain.
This is an extremely primitive and paranoid culture.
What does it mean, exact change?
Many of their customs will doubtless take us by surprise.
We're ready for beam out.
My transporter power is down to minimal. Got to bring you in one at a time.
You're from outer space.
No, I'm from Iowa. I only work in outer space.
And obviously I could sit here and rattle off all these scenes, and there's like mini rescues within the big rescue. And but I will say that I think probably, Jim, you know that I'm kind of a softie, and Star Trek is very much in the core of my being, and all my empathy is wrapped up in Star Trek. And so I mean, in this movie reminds us, I think, that it's important to care for all the things that are precious while we have them, so that a rescue like this isn't, in our future. So
brilliant. I mean, what else can you say? This is a perfect episode. Are you a Voyage Home fan, Noah?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's probably I think it's the best original series movie.
Yep.
For sure.
It's just hard to beat.
Yeah, it's incredible to me that it's the part 3 of a trilogy, but you didn't know it at the time. It took like a few years, and people are like, those are a trilogy. Oh yeah, they are. It was a different time back then. Okay, that's a fantastic pick, Brooke. Noah, how about you? What's your
okay? My number 4. The 5 words are "Rocks Hit People" Part 2. # Never trust a Romulan. And this is The Enemy with from Next Generation as well, with Geordi being trapped on some random lightning planet with another Romulan, and slowly they work together to assist in their rescue back to the Enterprise as Romulan and Federation tensions almost boil over to an intergalactic war.
I love The Enemy. My favorite part of this rescue is the is it a neutrino beam that Wesley sets up?
There is the neutrino beam that he drops on the planet. And, it's this weird thing where they have to find it so that they can modulate the frequency, so they can let people know that they're not dead or something. I don't know. But the only way that they can see it is if Geordi has his visor, even though, they could just kind of look around on the ground for like a big, satellite, but whatever, who cares? It's another teamwork survival episode. It's an episode I always get confused where the one where Geordi's on like another rock planet and he turns into that weird alien thing that was really scary.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Identity Crisis.
Yeah, that one's always very scary. But I like this, and there's some really, really scene-chewing acting coming from the Romulan actor. He's really, really going for it.
Yeah.
And, I think anytime you get a Geordi-centric episode, you're going to get a good one. And you get to see him do kind of free solo up the wall with these ice picks he crafts out of something, iron ore he sees in the wall. So a very, very fine rescue.
It is a fantastic episode. Brooke, what's your take on The Enemy?
Yep, good choice. I would say that probably a good Starfleet rescue either has to fall into one of two categories. Either it's really heroic, or it's cooperative, because those were two major themes, is working together and with people who are different, and I like it. It's a good pick.
Yeah, it's classic Trek, and I would be remiss if I did not say that this takes place on Galorndon Core.
Right. What a great name.
One of the greatest.
Galorndon Core. I can't remember what the hell they were doing down there. They were just putting a light stick in the ground for some reason. But Galorndon Core, I want a metal band called Galorndon Core to play at my funeral or something.
When we do top 5 random Star Trek words, that one's going to get a lot of play. Okay, round 4. My pick, 5 words and a hashtag. That's another Wesley. This is crazy. We'll bring them home, Wes. Hashtag a hint of moral cowardice. And my episode is also from TNG season 3. It's The High Ground. And my rescue team here is Wesley, Data, Geordi, and Worf and Riker. And they're all working to try to rescue Beverly Crusher and Captain Picard from the terrorists on the surface who have kidnapped Beverly to help them with their medical issues. I love this episode. I think it's super underrated. It's got all those Star Trek storytelling devices where it's about terrorism and rewriting history and Federation policies and non-interference. And The production values are super high. It's just a really underrated episode. And I love that Wesley is a big part of figuring out how to track these dimensional shifting inverter thing that the terrorists are using to kind of pop in and out of the Enterprise to threaten them. And yeah, just super fun. And at the end, they beam down, and it's a classic rescue. It's like they beam into the dark, they beam into the cave, they turn off the generator, it gets dark, they find Picard, find Beverly, they kill the terrorist, and then this little boy, I mean, it's like classic Trek trope. Little boy's gonna phaser one of the locals, and Riker gives the big speech of just, put your weapon down and don't maybe it all starts, maybe the healing starts with one boy putting his phaser down. Anyway, I'm an old softy. I love the higher ground. Noah, any memory of this one?
This episode has one of my favorite Star Trek tropes, which is 90s looking dude who is the leader of a rebel group and like a sort of rascal pirate who's also charming and dangerous. I feel like we meet them all the time. There's a bunch of Bajorans like that. That is one of my all-time favorite Star Trek tropes, and I feel like there's a good one here as well. So that's sort of my call on this episode.
Finn is all those things. He's wearing pleated pants, and I pretty much had those pants in the 90s.
There you go.
I definitely did. Brooke, what's your take on the higher ground?
I feel like my memory of this one's a little fuzzy too, so I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch. You have to remember, I've seen Deep Space Nine about 30 times, and I've seen TNG twice.
Man,
so
you need to go do your TNG. I knew if you didn't remember Final Mission, you're not gonna remember the higher ground. That's awesome. Go. You got some good homework to do. I love this.
I do. Post TrekRanks.
Post TrekRanks homework. Okay, we're going to round 3. It's the soup round. Noah has no idea what that means, but we call it the soup round.
Eat your soup, courtesy of a loyal establishment. Jolan True.
And every once in a while we say why. It's because in episode 6, we did top 5 food moments, and we all picked soup in the 3rd round. So now it's the soup round.
That's funny.
It's amazing. All right, Brooke, what's your round 3 pick?
Well, and we should probably further point out that since then it's become sort of like a wild card round. Even when we've had like a structured episode, because I think I did what is it? Lower Decks season 1 moments, and then Picard season 1 moments. And so the 3rd round's always like the pick whatever, whatever just, checks the box for you.
A little loose.
Yep. So keeping with that.
I'm glad I know that after I already made my pick.
Oh, no.
It's okay. It's all right. I'm going to pick the Kobayashi Maru for this one just because.
Okay. So my round 3 pick, 5 words. Cue the Sarah McLachlan tearjerker, and my hashtag is #1. And my pick is De Niro, the real life rescue pit bull who we met in season 1 of Star Trek Picard.
Oh my God, wow. You're amazing!
Wow,
you're amazing.
I'm logging off. This sucks.
#1 and the dog's name is De Niro. I remember that.
Yeah. And truth be told, this is the first thing that came to mind when I heard the topic. Wow. Because I think in real life, I'm not going on a whole lot of high stakes rescues. To me, the word rescue, I think of animals. And, my best bud over here sleeping behind me, I mean, she came home with me from a shelter 15 years ago. And it's like rescue animals are a significant part of my life. And I know I'm not alone in present company when I say that, I love and I respect Patrick Stewart's empathy and advocacy. And to propose the idea of bringing on a rescue dog is like peak Patrick Stewart. And what's interesting is there's not a lot out there, but when you read about some of the accounts of what filming was like with De Niro, it did not go well most of the time. And what's funny is but isn't that the nature of rescues? And certainly with animals, sometimes things don't go as smoothly as you hope, but the life on the line is worth it every time. So
I love it. Shout out to rescues. This is so good and obviously near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, well done. What do you think? Do you think in this round, in the soup round, I can call for a rescue of myself on this episode, just getting absolutely run circles around?
This is not a competition. No,
not a competition.
Everybody's picks are awesome. We're talking about Trek.
It's not a competition, but you are losing.
Yeah. I love that pit bull, and I love anytime Patrick Stewart posts a video of him with like a pit bull that he's fostering or anything.
Yeah.
He's an A+ human. We love that.
Well done.
Noah, any other take on?
I love it. My mom and dad just rescued a pit bull a year and a half, and they named it Ryn. So it's very much.
Gosh. Is it blue? Is it blue?
It's not blue, but it is white, so it matches my hair. So that counts for
That's awesome.
That's fantastic. I love it. Hey, let's segue into this. How did you tell your mom that you were going to be on Star Trek?
You know, it's funny. I don't really actually remember. I think I have a video somewhere. I think
because I've heard this. I mean, it's a great story about when Mary told you about booking it, and
I don't really remember how I told my mom. I think I just emailed her because I also felt like, when I got it, I wanted to keep my expectations low because I was not very clear on what I was doing or how many episodes I would be in. It was unclear. I didn't want to get her all pumped up if I was going to, stand in the background and give somebody a high five, and that was it. And I would have been thrilled with just that, but I wanted to kind of keep my expectations in line with what I knew. So I don't think she really got excited until I was like, I'm in full prosthetic and there's about 50 explosions going on behind me. If I don't make it out of this alive, it was worth it. At that point I was like,
yeah,
we can go. That's awesome. All right. Well, we'll ask her when she's on TrekRanks.
There you go.
So.
I give you major credit for reining it in. Honestly, if my mom were a Trekkie and it were me, I think it'd be like a gender reveal, like a box with Star Trek colored balloons coming out, what I mean? Like it'd be a big deal.
Yeah, no, it was a big deal. I think I was, worried about her feeling like she needed to immediately hop on a plane to Toronto and be on set with me. So I had to really take care of her.
All right. What's your number 3 pick, Noah?
Number 3, my 5 words are, is Jeffrey Combs my dad? # never trust a Vulcan. This is the Andorian Incident, Star Trek Enterprise. At some point it's a little muddy who's rescuing who, why they're there. We think we're going down to rescue the Vulcans, and then we've got to go down and maybe rescue Archer and his team, and then somebody accidentally shoots a wrong thing and presses a thing, and it turns out never, ever believe Vulcans. They're liars, and Andorians are the one to trust. Always trust an Andorian's intuition.
The answer to hail from Enterprise. They threaten to kill us all if anyone attempts a rescue.
Mr. Reed wouldn't be that reckless.
I didn't recruit my tactical officer to sit on his butt when he's threatened. The Andorians smashed our communicators. The longer we're out of contact, the more likely Malcolm will put together a landing party. Warning or no warning.
Known him, a heavily armed landing party.
It's just a matter of time. So if anyone has a suggestion, I'm all ears. No offense.
And of course, most importantly, we get to meet the one, the only Shran for the first time. And it just doesn't really get better than that. I mean, what else can you ask for,
You can't ask for anything more than that. Jeffrey Combs, Shran. This is one of the best episodes of Enterprise. I'm pretty sure it's number 6 on our Enterprise TrekRanks. It is so good. It's the first time we get really meaty with the Andorians. So
it's true. Maybe in all of Star Trek.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. So just for that fact alone, and the rescues are they're coming fast and furious. I do love the scene where they beam in, they run through into the catacombs, and then they close it, and everyone comes in, and they're like, "What's going on?" It's good stuff. This is great. Brooke, what's your take on the Andorian Incident?
Very solid pick. Yeah, no, this whole episode it really doesn't stop much. So yeah, it definitely typifies a rescue. And Jeffrey Combs, I think, well, just by nature of how many roles he's played, he ends up being talked about on this show a lot, but he's enough to make an episode. And I like that you picked an Andorian episode. That seems fitting.
Of course.
And I can watch Scott Bakula pretend to get beat up all day. He just loves that shit.
He really does. Yeah, he really does. That's a great point.
It's so clear. Okay, close out round 3 with my pick. This is 2 episodes in a row that I'm going to the Kelvin timeline 5 words and a hashtag. A better chance with you, hashtag. Is that what you believe, James T? And this is Star Trek Beyond. And yes, I'm picking the motorcycle rescue scene.
Hell yeah.
Because it's awesome. It's
That
so
is awesome.
freaking good. And I always say this, anybody who doesn't like this or doesn't like the Kirk and Chekhov flipping the saucer section with the explosion, this is so much fun. This is a summer blockbuster. This is what it's supposed to be.
Captain, your beacon!
From the score to the action to all the, Kirk's riding the bike around, and all of a sudden there's like 20 Kirks, and there's the freeze wall smoke or whatever it is that he's using to block the phaser fires. And then you've also got Spock and Bones rescuing all the hostages while Scotty's trying to beam them up without splicing them. And you also have a fantastic fisticuffs fight with Jayla fighting Cole's dude Manus, and it all ends with the most insane, ridiculous stunt where Kirk's circling around and rides the motorcycle off of the wall and the ramp that he's made for himself and grabs her while he's beaming out and she's jumping. It's just amazing. Michael Giacchino score.
Okay. Let's never do that again.
I agree, Josie.
I love it so much. It's Star Trek Beyond. Noah, what's your take on this?
Love this. I feel like those movies, especially Beyond and the first movie as well, there's so much rescuing. It's just a really, really good pick. And anytime you get Chris Pine on a motorcycle, I feel safe and like he can rescue me anytime he wants.
Same. Get in line, Brooke. What's your take on Beyond?
I feel, well, for one, I think it's my favorite of the 3 Kelvin timeline movies, but because it feels so much like an episode of Star Trek. But I read something recently where somebody had commented, and I think they meant it pejoratively, but it was like, well, yeah, this stuff is what original, TOS would have done if they'd had the budget, or maybe it wasn't pejorative. Maybe it was actually somebody that worked on the show that was like, no, if we had more money, and some different effects, like, so that's exactly what Kirk would have done in either universe. That scene is like, William Shatner probably would have loved it, but.
He would have been on a horse, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
So true.
Probably.
So true. Yeah, I love that. I've been a fan since the early 70s, a long time, die hard, forever. This is my 3rd favorite Star Trek movie. Wow. It is so much fun. It's so great. And I don't say that lightly. There's a lot of great Trek out there, but this one is really, really good. Go back and revisit it, people, if you haven't. Okay, round 2. Brooke, what is your number 2 pick?
Okay, number 2, 5 words, less than elite Ferengi squad, and my hashtag is #RC Kivon. And my pick is the Deep Space Nine episode from season 6, The Magnificent Ferengi.
I didn't think of this one either. So good.
I love the Ferengi, and this episode ranks pretty high for me on personal favorites in all of Star Trek. And I know Ferengi don't always get a lot of love, and this episode is purely Ferengi, but it's of course the one where Ishka, Quark and Rom's mom, is kidnapped by the Dominion, and the Grand Nagus wants Quark to, figure out how to rescue her. And I'm not sure if you guys follow the DS9 subplots Twitter account, but it's basically like fabricating DS9 ideas that are a fun balance of silly and serious. And this actual episode is exactly that kind of balance. I mean, Ishka's kidnapped while coming back from getting a lobe lift. The prisoner they're meant to exchange is killed during like this stupid squabble that's very Ferengi, and then they reanimate him, and then he bumps into corridors. I mean, it's like it's all so much fun.
I'm putting together a little rescue mission, and I'd like you to be part of my team.
I work alone.
You'll be paid in latinum.
I don't care about latinum.
You're right. His priorities are different.
All right. Forget the latinum. I've been told you like the opportunity to test your abilities.
I enjoy a challenge.
Then you should know this, that the person we're going to rescue is being held by the Dominion.
The Dominion?
Should be quite a challenge.
It admittedly is not a particularly great rescue, but it's kind of a hell of a ride, and I'd watch it every day.
Oh, it's a great rescue. And this is another Exhibit A on when people are talking about Star Trek not making sense or not taking stuff serious. This is the middle of the Dominion War, and they kidnap Mookie. So, I mean, get a grip, people. This
great pick.
So
great pick. I love anything Ferengi. You know, one of the hardest things for me to come to terms with in my life is that no matter how many times I could or will or might be back on Star Trek, I'll never play a Ferengi unless there's two of them stacked on top of each other in a trench coat. Love Moogie. Huge fan of Moogie. My mom will absolutely respond if I call her Moogie. This is a great pick.
It's the saddest. I thought you were going there. It's the saddest thing I ever heard. You can never play a Ferengi.
It's really a too bad, unless something is really, really bad has happened to them.
A genetic mutation that they don't speak of to outsiders, perhaps.
There you go. That could be the storyline. Brooke, you're killing it. I didn't think all 4 of your picks I didn't even have on my secondary systems. Incredible. All right, Noah, round 2.
Okay. My 5 words are: sorry about your wife, Cisco, #sleep. This is Best of Both Worlds Part 2. We have Wolf 359. We have Data and Worf going on to the Borg ship, recovering Patrick Stewart. We have an attempted rescue where the Enterprise rushes back to try and rendezvous with the fleet before they're totally blown to smithereens. Then we have the Enterprise rescuing Earth from the Borg invasion, just in time as Data and Beverly and Troy and O'Brien rescue Patrick Stewart, or Jean-Luc Picard, from his Borg captors. Just a lot of good rescuing going on, just a classic episode. And, one of my favorite things in terms of rescues are when you really feel the cost of the rescue. And this episode ends with this fantastic beat where it seems like, okay, we did it. We saved the day. And Jean-Luc kind of lifts up his Earl Grey and doesn't take a sip. And sort of you can see he's consumed with everything that he remembers and everything that he did while he was Locutus. It's just a great episode, a great rescue, multiple rescues in one. And, it's one of the peaks of Star Trek.
This is peak Star Trek rescue for sure. It's the first one I thought of when I started looking at my list. And yeah, I mean, my favorite thing about this is I've seen this 50 times. It still always tricks me. It's like Riker's got the plan, and then it's like, oh no, shit, I forgot. Worf and Data are going to be on the shuttle. That's the actual plan. They're going to rescue Picard. It's so smart. Some people kind of dismiss part 2 of Best of Both Worlds, and that's crazy nuts because it is really, really clever. And this is one of the best rescues in all of Trek for sure.
Commander Shelby, prepare to initiate your plan to separate the saucer section when we find the Borg.
Sir, I must remind you that Captain Picard was briefed on that plan. The Borg will be prepared for it.
I'm aware of that, Commander. In fact, I'm counting on it.
Crusher, Cartano, Gleason, report to the battle bridge.
Mr. Data, Mr. Worf, I have a special mission for you.
Brooke, what's your take?
I concur. And also, there have been plenty of episodes of the show where it's like everyone gets done and they're like, shit, we didn't pick the one episode we all knew needed to get picked, because everyone thought everyone else was going to do it. And this episode needs to be on this list. So
you're welcome.
Thank you for delivering it.
You're welcome.
That does happen sometimes on TrekRanks. Take me out to the holosuite.
Measure of a man. Measure of a man.
Unbelievable.
Well, the only difference would take me. I'm definitely cutting this out. Would take me out to the holosuite. Nobody picks it, but we talk about it through the whole episode.
The whole thing. Because it's the greatest sports episode of any TV show.
Exactly, and the whole episode is sports, so it's not really a reference. And there's so much baseball elsewhere. I'm kind of glad nobody picked it because
some of I think the 2 greatest Star Trek lines are in that episode, which is death to the opposition and find him and kill him.
Agreed.
I just think
Agreed.
They might be the greatest written lines of television history.
Yeah. What was the second one you said?
It's death to the opposition and find him and kill him.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
That's unbelievable.
My favorite is, because it's all about sports, is to manufacture triumph. Here. it's so good. Anyway, but yeah, the worst ever was we did Data episodes and nobody picked Measure of a Man. So that was pretty hard to come back from, Noah.
Unbelievable that the network didn't cancel.
I know, it's so amazing. Okay, let's go to my number 2 pick. 5 words in a hashtag. This is another short one, but I just couldn't eliminate it from my list. And Brooke, you picked this on your abstract 3s. 5 words in a hashtag. You're right. I'm an engineer. Hashtag the hero of Setlik 3. And it's O'Brien rescuing Nog from Garrick in Empok Nor DS9 Season 5, Episode 24.
Yes.
And this is a great episode. It's super dark. It's a lot of layers and depth to O'Brien's character and his past as a soldier, and now how he just wants to be an engineer. And the ending is just so great when Garrick, who's under some kind of psychotropic drug on the random secondary Cardassian station, and he's killing everybody, and he's going to kill Nog, and he's got him held, and O'Brien has to outsmart him. And so he puts a plan together. He shows up. He basically says, okay, you've got the upper hand on me. I don't want to deal with this. What are we going to do? But he sets a little trap for him because he's an engineer, and he gets Garrick to stand over his phaser on top of a tricorder, and he explodes it. It's really great. He's an engineer. Miles O'Brien saves Nog. I love this episode, and it's a great rescue. Noah, do you remember this one, Empok Nor?
I have a vague memory of this one. Really, really fun episode. I think you've just got some, I feel like the connective tissue between these great rescue episodes are the great characters. Garrick's an incredible character. Yeah. Nog, of course, is great. And O'Brien, as goofy as he is, when it gets serious, you're really like, oh man, you're on this ride with him. So that's a really, really fun episode. And also, I feel like O'Brien is sort of in this tradition of the Scotty engineer, which is just like, trying to do his best, hanging on for dear life, kind of the punchline of a bunch of jokes. So when he can outsmart someone like Garrick, who is just sort of, this weird genius man, it feels very, very satisfying.
Yeah.
I love that. How about you, Brooke?
Yeah. What season was this episode in?
5. It's right before the whole Dominion War arc.
Okay, because I have distinct memories of a few episodes. So I would have been about, 15, I think. And I would stay up alone and it would be dark and no one stayed up to watch these episodes with me. And this is one of them that was so intense watching it the first time. Obviously I picked on abstract 3s, but no, this is a brilliant one. It's turned up to 11 the entire time, even in the down moments, it's like it's building. This is a good pick.
Yep, so true. All right, let's go to round 1 and get our top 5 rescues. Brooke, what's your number 1 pick?
All right, well, Noah's going to hassle me again because if he thought my round 5 pick was basically all of Star Trek, here we go. Here we go. This is my biggest cheat. My 5 words are keep those letters coming, Trekkies, and my hashtag is save Star Trek. And my pick is
wow, my God.
It's Bijon.
Off. I'm not even letting you finish this. I threw my head back in disbelief.
So
I guess you guys know where I'm going, but obviously my pick is Bijo and John Trimble and their campaign to save Star Trek, back in 1967, and I don't know that everyone knows this, so I'm gonna tell the tale. As far as I've pieced it together and understand it, I wasn't there, but the story goes that NBC wasn't happy with the ratings for season 2 of the original series, and they're planning to cancel it after this second season ended. And enter the Trimbles, this couple who, I think with a little bit of prodding from Gene, did the heavy lifting to start this letter writing campaign that absolutely exploded. And NBC gets so many letters, something around 116,000, all of them petitioning the studio to keep the show around for a 3rd season. And we, of course, all know we did get a 3rd season. And, even though it was canceled, the 3 seasons together, from what the lore says, amounted to enough episodes of Star Trek that it could go into syndication. And syndication is where Star Trek found its following. So, like I said, I wasn't there. I'm an 80s baby, but It's funny because as we record this, I'm looking, I've got my Star Trek collection kind of scattered out in my library right now, and I'm looking at this, this tatty turquoise program from a tiny convention in Michigan in like 1992, and Bijo's biography and her autograph are on the page right after Majel's and 2 pages after John Delancey's. So that's where she rated in the world of Trek, and does still. But I mean, for this campaign and petitioning NASA to name the Space Shuttle Enterprise, and for all kinds of work and art she's contributed to science fiction. But I mean, on the whole, this pair of super fans, like OG super fans, essentially, lit the fire that rescued Star Trek. And I don't think we'd be here recording if they hadn't done what they did. So to me, it's the ultimate rescue. Ultimate Star Trek rescue.
Is it too late to change my final one to Lucille Ball and just pull that one out?
Oh, that's good too. That would fit too. I mean, it's a perfect summary of what Bijo Trimble did to save Star Trek. I love this.
Excellent.
Did you pick an episode to associate with it? Please say no.
No, I didn't. It was just TOS.
All right, so then by default, that means it should be the first episode of season 3, which is Spock's Brain. So that's perfect. You saved Star Trek and you picked Spock's Brain. So.
God, never picked on this show. I'd be willing to bet.
I don't know if it has. We'll have to check that. Okay, Noah, how about you? What's your number one? Awesome.
All right, number one, my 5 words are the greatest Trek character ever. # Blue Sad Boy in book. This is Scavengers.
Yes.
Star Trek Discovery, episode 6, season 3. We are introduced to the single most consequential Star Trek character, according to my mother. That's Ryn. It's a real classic rescue episode. We've got people posing as somebody else. We have sort of a stolen kiss in the corridor. We have rallying the people. We have creating some sort of bomb, which was going to be way more important, but they had to cut it because they were running out of time in the editing room. You have a whole bunch of stuff.
I told as many of the others as I could. I don't know if they believe me, but I tried.
You did good, Ryn.
Here, I got it. The black box. Who are these friends of yours?
Very handy. Excellent friends.
Okay.
5 minutes till shit gets real.
What if I can't do this?
You got those standing up to the chain. You got this. All you gotta do is, run. And you and I, my friend, are getting out of here. All of us on a transport ship.
We've got running to get to this transport ship. We've got, Ryn getting shot, taking a bullet for his friend, but surviving, beaming up. We have another moment which was cut where Book uses his Quajon healing powers to heal Ryn, but they cut it for some reason.
Damn it! Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you.
That pisses me off. That's one of the best things about the season was that Book stuff. Oh, that's brilliant.
He used it originally, but they cut it for whatever reason. Ryn lives because of this rescue, and the bad guy dies in the next episode in Tolor. He gets eaten by a space worm as we kind of meet the cruel and unusual Osiris. So it really launches the thrust of the second half of the season for season 3 of Discovery.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so excited. I was 100% for sure that you were going to die. I just thought it was a setup. Thought for sure, okay, this guy's done.
A lot of people did, but I'm living, I'm on the ship. I get to check off another Star Trek trope, which I was hugely excited about, which was laying on a med bay and having the space blanket over me.
That's
I was like, this is it. I have made it,
Oh God. Space blanket trope.
This is everything I could ever ask for. Yeah, space blanket, huge trope.
So good. And let's just say one of the best moments of the season was Burnham and Georgiou flying Book's ship and spinning around. The effects, the sound, really, and Book's reaction.
You really got to see the programmable matter at its finest. Yep. You didn't have to do a whole explanation about, well, what can it do? What can it not do? You see this ship sort of reconfigure itself. You're like, oh, it can do a lot. I'm interested in this stuff now. Yeah, and you've got David sort of shouting his signature phrase, "Let's go. Let's go."
So good. Brooke, what's your take on Scavengers, Ryn?
I don't know what I could possibly add since the guy who was there just talked about it. But I do want to say that you said Bryn, and please can we make that like the shorthand for that friendship?
Man.
Yeah, I like it.
That can be headcanon from now on. All of our time, everyone on Hunhow, the slave planet, called us Bryn.
That's a given. So all right, so let's give props then to the other rescues for Ryn. So in Sanctuary, and this was another amazing scene, Detmer and Ryn are in a ship saving Discovery by taking out Osira.
Hell yeah. Saving Discovery and saving Book and Burnham down on the planet.
That's right.
You know, saving Quajon.
Yep. Incredible.
We're doing a lot of saving. I don't give any credit to Grudge at all. He didn't help.
Grudge was not helping.
He didn't help.
And then in There's a Tide, a couple more with the whole bridge crew rescuing themselves, and then you and Book holding off the onslaught of what are they called?
Oh, now
what the hell?
You're gonna have to cut this.
I know. What the hell?
They're called regulators.
Regulators. There we go. We got it.
Regulators roll out. Here we go. There we go.
All right. Amazing that you were a part of so many cool rescues. Okay.
I did. I got to do a lot.
Let's close out with my round one pick. 5 words and a hashtag. I pick this episode all the time. I'm sorry, people, but I could not pick it. We bring back Lee Nollis hashtag, or we don't come back at all. It is the homecoming, the opening episode of DS9 season 2, and it is Kira and O'Brien taking a shuttle pod to try and rescue Lee Nollis and a bunch of prisoners on Cardassia 4, Cardassian prison camp. And I love this rescue. It's like the first 20 minutes of a great trilogy of episodes. And my favorite part of it is right at the beginning when Kira, she wants to go on her own, but Sisko's like, nope, O'Brien's going with you. And the first thing she says when they're firing up the runabout to head off on the mission, she says, before we go, there's one thing we need to clear up between us. This mission can end only one of 2 ways. Either we bring back Lee Nollis or we don't come back at all. And you said it a minute ago, Noah. O'Brien says all business. He's like, understood. No problem. Here we go.
Love it.
Such a great, great, great scene. And there's a bunch of good stuff happening in the outdoor location shoot where they trick the Cardassians and get everybody out. Phaser fights, the whole thing. I love the Homecoming trilogy. Noah, do you remember this one at all?
This is a great one. Again, we're like meeting more and more like 90s rescue men. You know, I feel like they're everywhere in this episode. And also I feel like this is a great Kira episode where she is like just so focused on completing her mission, and then just sort of her rebel spirit sort of comes in and she just starts kicking ass and she can't even help it. I feel like Kira is due for a full-on 2020. Oh my God. That's a long time from now. 2021 re-examination of just like, actually, she is the most badass person who's probably ever lived. And she's always kind of right, even when she's wrong. And I feel like this is a great example of that.
Could not agree more. She rules. Brooke, what's your take on the Homecoming?
Well, if we're going to be honest, like if your pick is the whole bridge crew, well, ops crew, I guess we should say, right? Ops crew of Deep Space Nine. And you pick 2, you're going to pick these 2. Like they're going to be your dream rescue team because they've both just been in the shit. You know what I mean? Like they know how to improvise. They've seen things, you know. It's not textbook for them, you know, it's actual experience. So personally, if I'm Lee Nollis and I'm stuck there, like these would be my choices. Good pick.
Yeah, Lee Nollis, he didn't want to get rescued, but that's beside the point. So.
Let's see what you can do with the secondary systems.
All right, let's rattle off a few secondary systems picks for the picks that just missed our list. Brooke, do you have any extras?
I do. I have a few. So that we have the 2 great rescues from Rura Penthe. So we have Archer in Judgment, and then you've obviously got Kirk and McCoy.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, Rura Penthe. There's a double dip. Yep.
Yeah, and supposedly this place you can't rescue anyone from, you know, but somehow, you know, our heroes have done it a couple of times. I thought about Prime Spock rescuing Kirk from those like giant indigenous insectoids things on Delta Vega, just because that meeting was really fortuitous, but it also felt really quick. And I had dogs and shows and things to put in my list. So the Deep Space Nine episode, the Gem Hadar, where Cisco and Quark and Naga are on that, the Cisco's and Quark and Naga on that that trip, and we don't know what the Dominion, we don't know what the different components of the Dominion look like at that point, and so the Odyssey ends up coming and rescuing them with, two of the runabouts, and the Odyssey gets like suicide bombed essentially. And it was like, it really informed what we thought about the Dominion or what we were expecting. And it's funny because I don't remember the name of that captain, but, before they leave and, the Deep Space Nine crew is like, well, we fought the Maquis, and he's like, well, we expect the Dominion to have sharper teeth. And then, fast forward and the Odyssey's gone, through the suicide run. I don't know. That's an intense one.
R.I.P. Captain Keogh.
Captain Keogh, and who was right, but that does not help you when your ship blows up. And my last one that I thought of was the Voyager episode Muse, both for like the rescue by the Voyager crew of B'Elanna and Harry when they're lost during that mission, but also because Kellis's last play was titled "The Rescue of B'Elanna Torres," so that felt like a kind of a fun double dip. But
and it ends on her beaming out of the play. That's really good. That's the actual rescue is at the end of the episode. That's cool. Awesome.
That's my list.
Amazing. How about any extra picks?
There of course is Saints of Imperfection, which is my wife rescuing a naked and afraid Wilson Cruz, which I love. So that's great. Oh God, yeah. I guess Lucille Ball I'm throwing on there.
I like that. Well. That's a great one.
About that. Yeah, I think those are my leftovers, my back end. Oh, and then just to rescue this podcast, I'll just throw "Take Me Out to the Holosuite" in there as well.
But well done, sir. Well done. Touche from 2 episodes ago. Okay.
And Measure of a Man, just toss that one on too.
That one works too. That's about 100 episodes ago. All right, so I've got a couple. I have New Eden because I love, and actually this is a Tilly shout out. You'll be doing a donut inside an asteroid field when Detmer rescues the planet below with her piloting. I've got Booby Trap, another ship. I wanted to do like ship rescues when Picard rescues the ship by navigating it out of the asteroid field. I love that. I got to give a shout out to Chakotay when he saves the indigenous woman on the planet in Basics when she's like surrounded by lava and he stops to save her. I love that moment. And I got a ton more here. I got Worf trying to rescue his dad in Birthright. Of course, that doesn't really work out. Sacrifice of Angels, Zial and Quark rescue Rom, Kira, and Lita. Another shout out for Wesley rescuing his mom from the warp bubble. And my final special shout out was Scotty rescuing himself in Relics by locking himself into a level 4 diagnostic transporter cycle, but it didn't work out for poor old Franklin, just Scotty. So, all right. Fantastic topic. I knew we'd get some interesting picks and some deep dives into some episodes we haven't really talked about. And let's get into our regeneration cycle and recap our picks.
Computer, activate regeneration cycle. Alcoves Beta and Gamma.
Okay, Brooke, recap your 5 picks.
All right. My number 5 pick was the endless rescues of the Kobayashi Maru. My number 4 pick was Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. My number 3 pick was De Niro, The Rescue Pity from Picard. My number 2 pick was The Rescue of Ishka by the crew of Ferengi in The Magnificent Ferengi. And my number 1 pick was the Trimbles and their letter writing campaign that rescued Star Trek.
Oh, man, you're three from TOS and 1 from Picard and Deep Space Nine. Noah, how about you?
Number 5, Final Mission. Number 4, The Enemy. Number 3, The Andorian Incident. Number 2, Best of Both Worlds, Part 2. And number 1, Scavengers from Star Trek Discovery.
It doesn't get any better than that. So 3 from TNG, 1 from Enterprise, and 1 from Discovery. And my top 5 was Harry Kim in Deadlock from Voyager, The Higher Ground, The Rescue of Beverly and Picard in TNG, Number 3, Star Trek Beyond and the motorcycle rescue scene in the Kelvin timeline. Number 2, Empok Nor and O'Brien saving Nog in Deep Space Nine. And also from Deep Space Nine, The Homecoming, O'Brien and Kira saving Lee Nollis and his crew. So I've got a few stats to relay. I was going to try and track a little bit more, but we were having too much fun. There was too much happening. We had no duplicates, so that's always interesting when there's no duplicates. I will say of the characters mentioned the most in rescues, we had 2 O'Brien picks, and then Kirk and Spock, kind of a combination. They had like 3 mentions, but the one that really stands out, Wesley Crusher has 3 mentions.
Way to go,
No
Wes.
kidding.
Way to go,
Big
Wes.
time involved in the rescues. So that is really cool.
And I think we had 2 Empok Nor picks, right? Which, I mean, considering you don't see Empok Nor all that much.
That's right. 2 Empok Nor space stations. With
I guess it's just a place you don't want to be. You really need some help if you're over there.
You figure if you're there, you're getting rescued.
Yep.
Good point.
All right. As we do every week, we've been hit by a temporal distortion. So before we get apart, it's time to hear from you.
The temporal distortions are fracturing space-time throughout the ship.
Cause?
Unknown.
Oh, we know the cause, Mr. Tuvok. It's all that amazing feedback that we continue to receive from our listeners here at TrekRanks. And this week's temporal distortion has sent us back to episode 94 and a great episode discussing the top 5 cold opens in Star Trek. We've got a great voicemail from Jim McMahon on Twitter. He is at TrekFan_165. And here is his great voicemail.
Hey, Jim. My name is also Jim. I am a big fan of the podcast, and I have created a top 5 list of the Star Trek cold opens. Number 5 is Blood Oath from Deep Space Nine, where we see Kor and Koloth on Deep Space Nine in full Klingon makeup. And my 5 words for that are Kor sleeping in the brig. The hashtag is Drunk Kor. My number 4 is Regeneration from Enterprise, where that Arctic research team comes across the Borg crash site and find the drones in the ice. The 5 words are "Do not disturb the drone," and the hashtag is Borg on ice. Number 3 is The Expanse, also from Enterprise, where the Xindi probe attacks Earth. I could not come up with 5 words for this. The best I could do is 6. And the words are Archer accepts help from the future. The hashtag is From Florida to Venezuela. Number 2 is Cause and Effect from TNG, where the Enterprise is destroyed. 5 words are Shuttle Bay over the tractor beam. And the hashtag is the number 3 is key. And number 1 is Scorpion Part 1 from Voyager, where the cold open is the 3 Borg cubes being destroyed by the then unknown energy weapons. And the hashtag the 5 words are the Borg can be defeated. And the hashtag is Resistance is not futile. So quick recap. Number 5, Blood Oath from Deep Space Nine. Number 4, Regeneration from Enterprise. Number 3, The Expanse, also from Enterprise. Number 2, Cause and Effect from TNG. And the number 1, Scorpion Part 1 from Voyager. Thanks, Jim.
I love that voicemail from Jim McMahon. Pretty sure it's not the punky QB Jim McMahon. I think this is just a Star Trek fan named Jim McMahon. And that would be a good actual reference for our sports reference episode, a couple episodes ago with Jim McMahon. If anybody knows who that is, I don't think anybody does. All right. I love this voicemail. He did the picks, which he had 5 words in a hashtag. He had everything in there. And to summarize for all of our guests, I'll do that now for Jim. His amazing list of top 5 cold opens had 2 picks from Enterprise, 1 from TNG, 1 from Deep Space Nine, and 1 from Voyager. Very cool. It was like he was a guest on the show. I love that voicemail. All right, so once again, those picks more than enough to get us clear of this week's temporal distortion. So as always, I want to thank everyone for all your great responses to the TrekRanks podcast. Keep your list coming to me at TrekRanks on Twitter so we can retweet them, but we also want to hear from you. Put together your own list of top 5 rescues or a list from any of our past shows. Give us a call at the Tricorder Transmissions at 609-512-5527. That's 609-512-LLAP. Or you can just record it yourself and DM me. We can do it that way. Hopefully we'll hear from you so you can be featured on the next episode of TrekRanks. And on the next episode of TrekRanks, we are doing another unique topic. It's one of those weird topics you're only going to find on TrekRanks. It's the top 5 improvements. That's right, improvements So this could be something in universe, something on the production side, lots of ways to think about improvements in Trek. And so Brooke and Noah, this is a tough one, but if you had to choose one Trek improvement off the top of your head, I'm going to put you to the test. Can you guys think of one? Brooke, I heard you struggling.
I can't believe you did this to Noah. He's just learning about this show, and this is.
I'm ready.
This is crazy. Okay, well then, I guess honestly, this one I would have to ruminate on a bit if I were to come up with 5. But I guess I'll just go with the simple fact that that ships get refits. So the fact that every time we lose a ship, it comes back and it's a little bit snazzier and it's got nicer carpet, if it's TNG. And so I guess that'd be my pick.
As Captain Freeman would say in Lower Decks, it get all sovereign class.
There you go.
That's a great one. A Trek improvement in universe. Noah, how about you?
Okay, my Trek improvement, this might be controversial, but I don't care, is that you're now allowed to be out and gay in whatever form you want in the latest iterations of Trek. You don't have to have a trill in you to be gay anymore. You can just be gay now in space.
That is an excellent pick.
That's an excellent one, and it's true for all of the progress that has been made in narrative storytelling form over the past 50 years.
Don't at me about it. I don't want to hear it.
Oh, no. At this point, anybody listening is still on board our team because I've ranted enough about this.
Fantastic.
to scare them all away.
I have one more. I have one more, and
Okay.
maybe because I'm here with 2 major Trek nerds, you can help me finally put a finger on something. So it's the look of Quark in the premiere versus the look of Quark after a couple of episodes go by.
That's a good one.
I cannot tell you why one is creepy and one is cool.
They must still be using the old Ferengi, plan or makeup plan that they had from the first season of TNG, and then they kept looking at it and they're like, man, this looks awful.
There's the shading or the nose. I mean, something's off, and Odo too.
Odo, I was about to say.
Yeah, so really Michael Westmore could be a whole 5, a whole list. That'd be cool.
Lots of improvements there for sure. All right, awesome job. Huge thanks to Brooke Horton and Noah Averbach-Katz.
I was wondering if you could show me how to access these subspace communications logs.
Great to have you both on the show. Any final Trek subspace communications, either one you guys want to relay before we depart, Brooke?
No, this has been really fun. I mean, being on the show with Jim is always being with, a lifetime Trekkie that got to ascend. And this episode is with 2 lifelong Trekkies that got to ascend to Star Trek. So, I mean, this is a pretty big honor, but I just want to say that, Noah, to find out that you're an actual, dyed in the wool, lifetime Trekkie and got to be on Discovery. I mean, that is so cool. So it's nice to meet you. It's nice to talk Trek with you. And Jim, always.
Thank you for having me. Your picks really exemplified the ingenuity of a Starfleet officer, so I'm very impressed. And when you guys go back, if you haven't done already, top 5 prosthetic makeup designs, then I can come back for that one.
So we've done costumes, but we still have hair and makeup to do. So those are on the list.
There you go.
Sure.
Prosthetics.
Jim,
right.
Got the bug now. He's got the bug. He's got a list for you. He wants to have custom made episodes now.
Actually, that's good. Maybe I should break that up. We'll do makeup and then also do prosthetics. That's pretty good. Okay.
Yeah, because I could do a whole episode on Beverly's makeup, but that wouldn't really fall under prosthetics, I don't think.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Also, Trek tropes. That one's happening at some point. All right. Thanks everyone again for
That's right.
Thanks everyone again for engaging with us here on episode 106 of the TrekRanks podcast. As always, I want to close by saying I'm looking forward to standing with you again here in this place where I belong.
Project parabolic course to avoid entering neutral zone.
Aye, Captain. Course change projected.
Captain, I'm getting something on the distress channel.
On speakers.
Imperative. This is the Kobayashi Maru. 19 periods out of all Tier 6. We have struck a gravitic mine and have lost all power. Our hull is penetrated and we have sustained many casualties.
This is the Starship Enterprise. Your message is breaking up. Can you give us your coordinates? Repeat, this is the Starship...
Enterprise, our position is Gamma Hydra, Section 10.
In the neutral zone.
Hull penetrated. Life support systems failing. Can you assist us, Enterprise?
Just want to remind everyone again that the entire TrekRanks catalog is available for you to download and listen to at TrekRanks.com and on your podcast player of choice. Our episodes never get carbon dated, so check out the topics you've missed and maybe just want to listen to again over at TrekRanks.com. And a reminder to check out our friends 5-Year Mission at 5yearmission.net. They're writing a song for every episode of Star Trek, and you won't believe how great their music is. They also have a podcast at the Trek Geeks Network, so seek them out. You won't regret it. Hey everyone, hopefully you stuck around after the credits here for just one last audio clip from this week's great topic, our top 5 rescues. And if you did, I'm going to get to that clip in a minute. But first, I wanted to salute our friend Brooke Horton from tonight's show. We recorded this episode about a month early because I had a vacation planned. And when I was editing it this week, I got the word from Brooke that she'd lost her beloved Alice, shelter cat that she had rescued about 15 years ago. And of course, she mentioned Alice during her inspired 3rd round rescue pick here on tonight's show as Alice was by her side. And anyway, I just wanted to highlight that really quick and send some love out to Brooke and everyone out there who's brought pets into their lives to be part of their family. You know, we all know it's when you do that, it's filled with joy and heartache, but you know, everyone that has given an animal a home and taken care of them, it's just really important and should be celebrated. And on behalf of Alice, I made a donation to the Humane Society of Western Michigan in Grand Rapids in her name. It's a great cause for anyone who has the ability to help. And just thanks again to Brooke for being such a great friend of the show. And as promised, here is our final rescue tribute that wasn't mentioned on the show tonight, but seems appropriate now. It's from Deep Space Nine's Honor Among Thieves, and we're celebrating Chief O'Brien's great decision to rescue Chester, the beloved cat of poor old Bilby. And I just love what that says about Chief and Deep Space Nine and what they showcase there. All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Have a seat. Not there. Chester doesn't like people sitting in his chair. Don't touch anything. If it's not too much trouble, will you make sure Chester is looked after? Be good.